Imagine finding a tape that was never meant to be heard. A recording so personal that it stayed hidden for decades. This is exactly what happened when someone discovered Michael Jackson talking about Diana Ross in a way the world has never heard before. What he reveals on this tape will shake everything you thought you knew about the King of Pop and the legendary Supreme who shaped his entire existence. The words he speaks are so raw and emotional that they will change forever how we understand the most famous entertainer in history. Before we dive into video, please subscribe our channel. Tape was found in an old storage unit in Los Angeles. Nobody expected what was on it. When they pressed play, the voice was unmistakable. It was the King of Pop himself speaking from the heart about the woman who changed his life forever. His voice sounded different than in interviews. This was raw. This was unfiltered. This was Michael Jackson with all his walls down. There was no publicist coaching him. No script to follow. Just pure emotion pouring out of a man who needed to express feelings he had kept buried for far too long. Michael begins talking about the first time he met Diana Ross. He was just a young boy from Gary, Indiana. He was only 10 years old. She was already a superstar. The Supremes were dominating the charts, and Diana had that magic that made everyone stop and stare. But what Michael reveals next sends chills down your spine. He says that the moment he saw her, he knew his life would never be the same. Something in his soul recognized something in hers. It was like the universe had arranged this meeting since the beginning of time. He describes walking into the room where Diana was standing. She was wearing a white dress that seemed to glow under the lights. Her presence filled every corner of that space. Young Michael was nervous. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding so hard he thought everyone could hear it. The Jackson 5 were about to perform for her and Berry Gordy. This was their shot at Motown Records. This was their chance to escape poverty and make their dreams real. Everything depended on this one moment. But Diana did something unexpected. Before they performed, she knelt down to Michael's level. She looked him straight in the eyes and smiled. It was not the fake smile that adults give children. It was genuine. It was warm. It was the smile of someone who actually cared. Then she told him something that he carried with him for the rest of his life. She said that she could see a light in him that was different from anything she had ever witnessed. She told him he was destined for greatness beyond imagination. She said the world would one day know his name, and that she felt honored to meet him before he became a legend. Michael says that in that moment, Diana became more than just a famous singer to him. She became his guardian angel. She became the person who saw him when everyone else just saw a talented kid who could make money for them. Diana saw his soul. She saw his pain. She saw his potential. And she decided right then that she would protect him as much as she could in this dangerous industry. She would try to shield him from the wolves who devoured young talent without mercy. The recording continues with Michael talking about the early days at Motown. Diana took the Jackson 5 under her wing. She introduced them to everyone who mattered. She brought them to live at her house for a while. Michael remembers sitting in her living room, watching her get ready for performances. He studied every move she made. The way she applied makeup, the way she chose her outfits, the way she carried herself with dignity and power, the way she transformed from Diana into the Diana Ross. It was like watching magic happen right before his eyes. He talks about conversations they had late at night. While his brothers were asleep, Michael would sneak downstairs and find Diana reading or listening to music. She never sent him back to bed. Instead, she would make hot chocolate and they would talk for hours. She asked him questions nobody else asked. She wanted to know what made him happy. What made him scared? What he dreamed about when he closed his eyes? What songs played in his head? What he saw when he imagined his future? Michael reveals that Diana was the first person he told about his abusive childhood. He opened up about his father, about the beatings, about the constant fear, about feeling like he could never be good enough no matter how perfectly he performed, about the terror of making mistakes, about the pressure that crushed him every single day. Diana listened without judgment. She did not tell him to toughen up like others did. She did not dismiss his pain. She held his hand and told him that his past did not define his future. She promised him that he would rise above the pain and become something the world had never seen before. But then the recording takes a dark turn. Michael starts talking about something he never told anyone before. He reveals that there were people in the industry who tried to keep them apart. They thought Diana had too much influence over him. They wanted to control Michael completely, and Diana was standing in their way. These people saw Michael as a product, as a money machine, as a ticket to wealth and power. Diana saw him as a human being who needed love and guidance. She saw him as a vulnerable child in a ruthless adult world. His voice breaks as he describes a moment when he needed her most. This was during the height of his fame. The Thriller era had turned him into the biggest star on the planet. Everyone knew his name. Everyone wanted to be near him. But with that fame came crushing pressure. Everyone wanted a piece of him. Everyone had demands. Everyone expected perfection every single second of every single day. The weight of being Michael Jackson was destroying the person underneath the image. Michael says he reached out to Diana during this time. He called her number, but someone else answered. They told him Diana was unavailable. He tried again the next day, and the next week, and the next month. But the people around him were blocking his calls. They were keeping her away from him. They had decided that Diana was a distraction, that she made Michael think too much about his feelings instead of his career, that she reminded him he was human when they needed him to be a machine. He felt abandoned. He felt alone. And in that moment, Michael says he lost a piece of himself that he never got back. The isolation became unbearable. He started building Neverland Ranch as a way to create his own world where he could control who came in and out. But even in that fantasy land, he felt the absence of the one person who truly understood him. Even surrounded by rides and animals and laughter, he felt empty inside. The most shocking part comes near the end of the recording. Michael whispers something that nobody ever expected. He says that Diana Ross was the only woman he ever truly loved. Not romantically in the traditional sense, but in a way that went beyond what words could describe. She was his safe place in a world that demanded everything from him. She was his home when everywhere else felt foreign and hostile. She was the only person who made him feel like he mattered beyond his talent. He talks about watching her perform and feeling like he was seeing himself in the future. Her grace under pressure inspired everything he became. The moonwalk, the sequined glove, the legendary performances, the attention to every tiny detail. All of it was influenced by watching Diana Ross command a stage like she owned the entire universe. She moved like water, she sang like heaven, and she made it all look effortless, even though Michael knew how much work went into every second. She taught him that excellence requires obsession with the smallest details. Then Michael says something that changes everything we thought we knew about his music. He reveals that some of his biggest hits were written with Diana in mind. When he sang about love and longing, he was channeling the emotions he felt about their connection. Not romantic love, but something deeper. A spiritual bond that transcended the ordinary relationship between mentor and student. It was a soul connection that most people never experience in their entire lives. He specifically mentions the song Remember the Time. He says that song was about remembering the time when Diana made him feel safe, when she made him believe he could survive the madness of fame, when she showed him that kindness still existed in a cruel industry. Every lyric was a message to her. Every note was filled with gratitude for what she gave him during those crucial early years. When he sang about remembering the good times, he was literally remembering sitting in her living room drinking hot chocolate and feeling protected. Michael also talks about the song, You Are Not Alone. He says he wrote it during one of his darkest periods. He was facing accusations. The media was destroying him. Fair weather friends had abandoned him. The whole world seemed to turn against him overnight. But he thought about Diana and what she would say to him if she were there. He imagined her voice telling him he was not alone, that she was still with him in spirit even if they could not speak, that their bond was eternal and nothing could break it. The recording reveals another stunning detail. Michael says that he tried to reconnect with Diana multiple times over the years. He would send her letters but never knew if she received them. He would ask mutual friends to pass along messages. He even showed up at one of her concerts hoping to see her backstage. But there were always handlers and managers and layers of people keeping them separated. It was like there was an invisible wall between them that he could never break through. He wondered if Diana thought he had abandoned her, if she believed he had gotten too famous to care about the woman who helped raise him. This thought tortured Michael. He wanted her to know that not a day went by when he did not think about her, when he did not wish he could sit in her living room again drinking hot chocolate and talking about dreams and fears and everything in between. He wanted her to know that fame had not changed how he felt about her. Michael talks about watching Diana receive awards and honors throughout her career. He felt so proud of her. She had broken barriers for Black women in entertainment. She had maintained her dignity and grace through decades of challenges. She was everything he aspired to be. Strong, resilient, legendary. And he wished he could tell her face to face how much she meant to him, how she was his blueprint for success, how every achievement of his was built on the foundation she helped create. The recording also touches on the pain of seeing tabloids create fake stories about them. The media tried to make their relationship into something scandalous. They invented romance rumors. They twisted innocent moments into salacious headlines. This hurt Michael deeply because it cheapened what they actually shared. Their bond was pure. It was built on mutual respect and genuine affection. But the tabloids could not understand that kind of love because it did not fit their narrative. They needed everything to be sexual or controversial. Michael reveals that he kept every gift Diana ever gave him. A scarf she wore on stage, a handwritten note encouraging him before a big performance, a photograph of them together when he was still a child with an afro and missing teeth. These items were among his most prized possessions. They reminded him of a time when his life felt less complicated, when success was still a dream rather than a golden cage, when he was just a boy who loved to sing and dance. He talks about the loneliness of fame, how he would be surrounded by thousands of screaming fans but feel completely alone, how he could not trust anyone because so many people wanted something from him, how he built walls around his heart to protect himself from being hurt. But those walls also kept out the people who genuinely cared. People like Diana who loved him for who he was, rather than what he could do for them. The isolation became his prison. The recording takes an even more emotional turn when Michael discusses his children. He says that he tried to be for them what Diana was for him, a protector, a believer, a source of unconditional love. He wanted to shield them from the harsh realities of fame. He wanted them to know they were valued as human beings, not as commodities. And in those parenting moments, he felt closer to Diana than he had in years because he was channeling her spirit. He was giving his children what she gave him. Michael also reveals that he had planned a surprise for Diana. He was going to dedicate an entire section of his final tour to her. He wanted to perform Supreme's songs in her honor. He wanted to bring her on stage and tell the world what she meant to him. He wanted to publicly thank her for saving his life in ways big and small. But that tour never happened, and that opportunity was lost forever. It remains one of his greatest regrets. Near the end of the recording, Michael's voice becomes very soft, almost like he is talking to himself rather than into a microphone. He says that he hopes in another lifetime he and Diana can be together without all the complications, without managers and handlers and tabloids and expectations, just two souls who understand each other sitting together in peace. Just two people who love each other without the weight of the world watching. He thanks Diana for teaching him about excellence, about preparation, about respecting the craft, about understanding that talent is a gift but hard work is what makes legends. Everything he accomplished was built on the foundation she helped him establish. Every moonwalk, every spin, every vocal run, every innovative music video, all of it traced back to the lessons she taught him both directly and through her example. She was his teacher in ways the world never understood. Michael says that if he could say one thing to Diana, it would be thank you. Thank you for seeing him when he was invisible. Thank you for believing in him when others doubted. Thank you for showing him that love exists even in the darkest industry. Thank you for being his angel when he desperately needed saving. Thank you for the memories that sustained him through impossible times. Thank you for being the light in his darkest moments. The recording ends with Michael saying that Diana Ross will forever be the queen of his heart. That when he thinks about true beauty and grace and strength, he sees her face. That the little boy from Gary, Indiana who met a superstar in a white dress never stopped looking up to her. And that somewhere beyond this world, their souls are connected in a way that death itself cannot break. Their bond is eternal and transcends this physical existence. This secret recording changes everything we thought we knew about Michael Jackson and Diana Ross. It reveals a relationship that was deeper and more meaningful than the public ever realized. A bond built on genuine love and understanding in an industry that rarely offers either. A connection that shaped the king of pop and left an imprint on every aspect of his legendary career. It shows us a side of Michael that the world desperately needed to see. The question now is why this recording was hidden for so long. Who kept it locked away from the world? Was it intentional or accidental? And what other secrets are still waiting to be discovered in storage units and private collections? What other truths about Michael Jackson remain buried? What other emotions did he pour out in private that the public never heard? How many more revelations are waiting to surface? This tape is more than just a historical artifact. It is a window into the soul of one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived. It shows us that beneath the sequins and the spectacle was a man who craved connection, who loved deeply, who never forgot the people who helped him along the way, who carried pain and gratitude in equal measure, who was more human than the myth suggested. As we listen to Michael's words about Diana Ross, we are reminded that legends are human too, that fame does not erase the need for love and understanding, that success cannot fill the void left by isolation, and that sometimes the most important relationships in our lives are the ones the world never fully sees or understands. The private bonds that shape us are often invisible to those watching from outside. This recording is a gift to everyone who loves Michael Jackson. It lets us hear his authentic voice speaking his deepest truth, and it ensures that the world finally knows what Diana Ross meant to the king of pop. She was not just a mentor or a friend. She was his guardian angel, his inspiration, his safe harbor in the storm, And now, thanks to this incredible discovery, her impact on his life is finally revealed in his own unforgettable words that will echo through history forever.